Hey guys, welcome to CFC Unfiltered. I'm your host Anirudh, and this is a channel for Chelsea fans by a Chelsea fan. And this channel, I will give you my unbiased and unfiltered opinions on all things Chelsea, be it later transfers, be it stories emerging in and around the club, or be it my pre-match or post-match thoughts, and which is what we are going to do here. So I'm going to give you my post-match review of Chelsea versus Fulham. Now I know this is a little bit slightly delayed, but I couldn't catch the match fully because of some technical reasons. The channels were for some reason glitchy at that point of time, and I wanted to fully watch the match again completely before giving you my honest reviews. Now before we go any further, if you do like the channel, if you do like the content, please show us some support. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon. It's a brand new channel, only a few days old, and it needs all support we can get. So if you do like the content, and I'm sure you will if you do give it a shot, please do hit the subscribe button, please like the video, please hit the bell notification icon, and we can start this journey together. So let's before further ado, let's get to it. Right. Now, Chelsea fans. This was an interesting match. I think it's not the most exciting match I've seen, but it was really interesting. There were a lot of talking points, a lot of controversies, and we're going to start, from the top. So, I've seen the full match, and it's quite fresh now in my head. So I would say, earlier when I looked at the match, because it was around 30 minutes, I was not able to catch the first 30 minutes of the match. That's why I wanted to watch the whole match before coming here and giving you, because saying, oh, I'm happy and it's a 2-0 win, I'll not be doing my job correctly, giving you my opinions. So for that, I just wanted to take time and watch the whole match, and I thought it would do well because it's right now, it's an international break, also I've been looking to find ways to make some amazing videos, so that will be coming, so watch out for that. But right now, so let's review the match. In the first 12 minutes, what I saw was I had this fear, because last season, these 12:30 matches, UK time, Chelsea had this feeling of like not being completely awake, sleepwalking. Sometimes kind of like I am, on Saturdays and Sundays. But I had this feeling when I watched from 30 minutes, and that was not the case, right? I would not say we were good in the first half. We were poor. We were not that good, but it was not as bad as I initially thought. So first 12 minutes we were actually good until Delap unfortunately got injured, which kind of sent a lot of frenzy in the transfer market, but that's for another video. So Delap got injured. By that time I saw some good bits, some good build up. For first 12 minutes it was okay. Then of course the team was, and the Tariq George came in for him, and he had an okay performance, not too bad, not too good, nothing sparky. He had one or two decent chances, one was just before the João Pedro goal, but it was. But from there, I think the problem stuck in, and Fulham started to build up confidence Fulham started to build up steam, and Josh King, of course, scored. Then the goal was disallowed. There has been a lot of controversy in this, around that goal, that it shouldn't have been disallowed. Where is he supposed to step? And I watched it, and I watched it bunch of times, and I've looked opinions of Chelsea fans, I've looked opinion of everyone else, and what I would say is that if my team was scoring that goal, and if that had happened, well, I would be angry if that goal got called off. I could understand why that would have been called off, and that's why I think the goal shouldn't stand. Right? I'm trying to be, I know it will look like it's only a Chelsea view, but I think it's a bias. It's not an unbiased opinion. He steps on his foot. The argument is being made, and PJML has come out with an apologies, this and that. Everybody's like, oh look, it's not, because argument was made. Oh, where is Muniz supposed to stand? Right, where he's supposed to put his foot, he has to put it somewhere, and Chalobah was all in the way. But the thing is, he doesn't have to, right? Because he's making this move where he is stepping, but he doesn't have to, because he can do something else where he can go backwards, where he can go forwards, or he can go to his left instead of his right. Right, and if he goes instead of his left instead of right, he doesn't take out Chalobah, and if that develops into a goal scoring opportunity, the goal stands. Right, so he doesn't have to, but he still did. He knew Chalobah was coming there, and he still did. Right. So this argument is also, I feel, given how many, we have seen Soucek, handing the ball. We have seen, I'm not sure, it was last season where, Pickford, maybe someone kicked some player in the nuts. I don't remember who it was or something like that. And we remember the Cucurella hair pull by Romero. So this, and we remember that referee, who has come out, oh, this is an abysmal thing, or this is a shameful thing, and that guy, who didn't want to pull this up because he didn't want to bother his mate. So I think it's just, the problem is that how come Chelsea have benefited. It's not about the fall. Is that, Josh King, because he's an 18-year-old or 17-year-old, whatever it is, he should be allowed to score. Like, it's like, that Max Downman thing, where he clearly dived, in our zone game against Leeds, where he clearly dived, but he's a 15-year-old. Let's give him a penalty. Oh wow. So it's nothing to do with actual law being applied. It's just that it's a 17-year-old and it's Chelsea. That is what it is, right? How come Chelsea have benefited? How come Chelsea? And then they're bringing the Guhi, the Crystal Palace game. Oh, they benefited there too. And then they're trying to bring, something in from West Ham, clear offside, and then of course the second goal, the Pedro Neto goal against West Ham, where there was no foul, it was normal contact, and then they were trying to bring it there too. So this is clearly ever being up in arms that we have seen this agenda being pulled up again and again. And I can remember last season a line of games where our officials actually cost us points, and nothing was done about that. It was all fun and games, when people were doing that. But now that it's benefiting Chelsea, everybody seems to have a problem with that. It's okay, let us live rent free in their head. It doesn't matter, they don't matter. And it's not like we have been giving, we generally do not get decisions, and this is not a decision we have been getting. It was a fair decision. So let us live rent free in their head. Clearly everyone is rattled. looking at how Chelsea are doing, despite nowhere being near in their best, and it is what's happening right now. Now moving forward, right? Chelsea were kind of sleepwalking. It was almost like, first 12 minutes they were good, and then for until 32 minutes, something like that, 32nd minute or 34th minute or something like that. It was kind of like we were sleeping, and then suddenly someone has to wake. Oh, pick up. Oh, you're in a match. This is a match day. You're actually in a football match. Wake up, right? This was what was happening at that point of time. I mean, I remember a Muniz chance. I think it was Muniz or some Fulham player in which Sanchez basically saved, and he basically got. And he was ruled offside, of course. But that said, he was, Chalobah and Tosin basically allowed him to drift there. Now, I'm not saying the offside plan clearly worked, but what I'm saying is, had he timed his run, Muniz, right, that could have been a problem. What should have been done is Chalobah, while I applaud him, I think he is the one, and Tosin should have been aware that Muniz isn't back, and Chalobah maybe, because he's talking about leadership qualities, I really like that, he should have taken that, to, basically make sure that Muniz does not get that opportunity. Basically, once, because he has taken that run cross, the ball is being crossed, then Chalobah can come in, because if it's outside, it's already going to be outside. But now, make that run to make sure that Muniz does not even have that opportunity, snuff it out, right? So that is something I would want Maresca to look in and basically explain this to Tosin and Chalobah, who I don't think are international duties right now. So they can maybe look at it and tell them that this is something they need to improve on, because Maresca has really improved, our defensive line and our fragility in defense, right, from last season. There has been a gradual improvement, and we have seen that, right. And then, of course, from 36 minutes onwards, I think we had started building some steam. From 40 minutes onward, we started looking good, and I heard a lot of non-Chelsea fans complain about the added time. Oh, it's João Pedro scored in the 9th minute, right, of the 8 minutes added time. Oh, look, it's 9th minute. Oh, like that never happens. It's minimum of 8 minutes, guys. And if you looked in the 8 minutes itself, right, there were a lot of stoppages. There were a bunch of corners. There were throw-ins. Fulham were taking their time. And even before the João Pedro goal, there was a corner before that, right, where Stary George could have scored, right. So let's take that into account. It was easily a minute more, which should have been given and which was given, right. And João Pedro, being the man of the hour, being ruthless as he is, he scored from there. Right, he could have had bunch more, but I'm okay with that. He if you're gonna miss chances, miss them. I mean, I have no problem, because he's taking his shots. He is scoring few goals, important goals when we need them. So I have no problem if he, maybe he could have made 3-0 or 4-0, but I'm okay with that. I'm sure he will improve that and look at it. I can clearly see that he has that sort of mentality, because when he was coming for Brighton, when we were linked from him Brighton, I think you were linked even before Delap, but when we started to go after him, and a lot of people were like, no, why are we getting him? We should go for much more fancy signing. And it would be dishonest for me to say that I was completely sold on him, but I was not also going against we should not get him or this or that, because my opinion was I didn't know much about the player, because I had only seen him limited times, because there are only so many times I saw Brighton matches, and not every time João Pedro was there, right. But what I had seen for, I think, past 2 seasons from João Pedro, that he was a fox in a box, right? He could smell those chances. I could see that, and he was there and thereabouts. He was a good penalty taker, and he was a good link-up player, right? I could see those things. I could say, okay, and rest of the qualities, his carrying ability, this and that, I didn't know at that point of time. But what I've seen with this ownership, they have built a really good transfer and scouting team, and they're really good in ensuring when finding the right players. And because we saw that, I saw that last season, because a lot of people are like, and the last transfer window was a mixed bag. We did get two good signings, which was Pedro Neto and Dawson. But what I saw was one of the good things, one of the silver linings was I begin to trust Chelsea's transfer. I know we have some questions, we have some doubts on the directors, but the scouting team and Chelsea's recruitment team is really, really good, guys. They know what they're doing. They know how to find gems, and João Pedro, without any shadow of doubt, is a gem. Okay, I'm sure Liam Delap, unfortunately for him, he's injured, but I think in time when he comes back, he will shine. But I do think João Pedro is a gem, and we have to credit to our recruitment team who have done their job. And when we were going for him, I was like, I don't know much about him apart from his being quite lethal in the box, and being a fox in a box, and having good link up play. I don't know much about him, but if Chelsea's transfer recruitment team thinks he's a guy, I back them 100%, and this is what has happened. So I think we should give them more credit than it's due. I know we have some doubts on the players. They're maybe not as shiny and sparkly as as we used to do quite a bit in transfer windows. I know a lot of people, a lot of fans these days want to get their dopamine levels up by in transfer window. I get that. But clearly these fans either have not experienced a lot of Chelsea transfer windows. Also, having a 10 out of transfer window doesn't necessarily mean the players are good, right? It's not about that the player is shiny, it's about how effective they can be on the pitch. And I think our recruitment team is showing that they are picking players who might not be the shiny of the bunch, but are really effective on the pitch, right? And that's what João Pedro has been, and I think that will be most of our players, right, that have come in this season, right? So moving on, we saw in the end of the house there was frustration from Enzo Fernández about his fitness levels, and something like he was all smiles at the end of the match. Marco Silva, who had a lot of bravado words saying, pre-match, was, looking really raised up. Because he had come with statements like, I have a really good record since I've been here in Chelsea. Now that's true, but there is a context there. So he has been, I think, for 3 years or 4 years around that time, right? And Chelsea went into crisis mode around that time. Okay, we went into like a seismic change in which we didn't know that Chelsea were going to exist or not in the future. Thankfully we did, but we didn't know at that point. And obviously when you're going through such tremendous changes on the pitch, it would affect players, and it affected. And there were a bunch of teams which benefited against us, and Fulham were one of them. And of course, they beat us last season, but I think that was a different context. I think Enzo Maresca's consistent comments that we are not title contenders, this and that, with along with a lot of players taking their foot off the gas, not having high concentration levels, played into that. And I blame both the players and the manager, especially at that point of time. But since they have come out of that storm, since that last season, and really performed well. And in the second half, now of course, not talking about last season, but in the second half, what I saw was that we started well. Where we started well, and then we got a penalty. It was a pen. It was a clear pen. I could see in the in the match that they were really trying to rule it out. Actually, they were looking for that. Can we rule it out here? Can we rule it out here? Because they looked at the Caicedo tackle. It was clean. There was nothing doing there. Then they went to João Pedro, say supposed handball, which he can't do anything about it because the player there is just basically kicking on him and there's nothing they can do, and they understood that, so they tried to rule it out actually for some reason, but they couldn't, and they had to give the penalty. Enzo Fernández scored. That was good for his confidence. There were a lot of people saying that João Pedro basically gave it to him. That's not really the case when Cole Palmer was not there. Right, so Enzo Fernández is the vice captain of the club, and of course was captaining the team, so obviously he has seniority over João Pedro. Right, João Pedro can't come in no matter how good he's performing and just take the penalty unless Enzo Fernández is giving it to him. So Enzo Fernández had a seniority, he has a decent penalty record, and he scored from there, going straight in the center. And yeah, despite the fact that Enzo Fernández hasn't had good performances, it's good to see still finding the net. I think that's a signature of a good player. Even when you're having some bad game, even when you're not completely on it, if you're not fit, you're still able to create outcomes for the team in positive way, right? So that's good. And rest of the match, I think Chelsea created some chances. João Pedro could have scored one or twice. There were some opportunities here and there which we could have taken, but we didn't. But I'm okay with that. We took our foot of the gas just like we did on the West Ham match, right? And I told you, because of the Club World Cup, because of the short preseason, we're not completely in there. So what the team is doing is, once they are like, okay, we have this match more or less in the bag, we have to stay alert, but it's more or less so we don't have to, really get at it at 90 degrees. So they kind of took their foot off the gas and mostly stayed in second gear or something like that, right? A couple of players I like to highlight. Moses Caicedo, made tremendous tackles. He read the danger well. Again, I already had Enzo Fernández. He had a controversial game in some ways, but again, he created a positive impact. João Pedro remains deadly as ever. Mal Gusto. Last season, he was actually one of the people who was at fault directly, leading up to Fulham scoring those goals last season, because he was like running back, jogging back last season. I was like, God, what is wrong with this player? And we had started to question whether we should sell Gusto, whether we were, whether we basically misread Gusto of being a good player, because he had a really bad season last season, right? And that was one of those highlights. I was like, is this guy, what is this guy doing, right? But fast forward, he showed good glimpses in the Club World Cup, and he made some really good moments, both forward, especially in defending, situations. And he made one of those Caicedo tackles, reading danger, intercepting it, and I'm happy that he has proved his doubters, including me, wrong, right? Because we had started to have doubts on him but he has proved them wrong. He has proved me wrong, and I'm really happy for it. And yeah, I think the centre back partnership had a really good game. Sanchez overall had a positive game. So it was a good day out. Unfortunate injury which led to a interesting transfer situation in the last 24-48 hours. But overall I think we are in a good shape. I do, as I said in the last video, that I think until match week 7 to 11, I think we'll be grinding matches, so we'll not be nowhere near full tilt. I wouldn't actually be surprised if until we're not in full tilt until after Christmas. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to keep on grinding games at least until match day 7 or match day 11. I think that's what's going, because this team needs some time to basically get up to speed. Also, they are preserving and making sure they don't run out of energy or have injuries or anything like that. So it's also tactical. So I think we'll have to, so this is my analysis, and I think, as I said, in last match, this is what exactly happened. So I'm pretty sure that this will be the case moving forward. But I think what Chelsea also has is a certain ruthlessness this season. We saw it against Fulham. We saw to an extent against Crystal Palace too. Because we're seeing what Crystal Palace is doing this season, right, under Gazner. And we saw this now against Fulham. I think a lot of rivals have started to worry about it. They don't want to admit it, and they're not going to admit it until later on in the season, until it's too late. But Chelsea is going to worry people this season. Now, I'm not saying what will happen and what won't happen. It's too early, as I've said already. Unless you're on match day 30-31 and you are either leading everyone else or you're in and around 6 points, within 6 points of whoever may be leading, you're not in a title race, right? And I stand by that, right? I've seen multiple title races, so I know that is the case. So I'm not talking about title this or that. I'm not daydreaming about it. There's a situation that might develop into it, but I want to enjoy, and that's what Chelsea fans should do, is just enjoy the ride. Don't be tense about it. Just enjoy the ride, enjoy watching your team, and I think this will be a good season with really good outcomes. So yeah, up the Chelsea, keep the blue flag flying high. I will see you guys in the next video, and yeah, up the Chelsea. Bye guys, bye.